we all grew up listening to the speeches that H-men gave to the German people and troops, and you couldn't understand what they were saying, but boy, they sounded menacing. And, he said, God, it just sounds evil. Well, now they've got AI that translated it into English and tried to retain the voice and the passion behind the speech. And, it talks about Christian values and moral integrity and how valuable women are to a society. And, it's not quite as bad as I thought it was. And then it talks about the media.
And then this man later goes on to say, maybe we were on the wrong side of history. I grew up in American exceptionalism where I was told that the Christians were the Corrie ten Booms and the Dietrich Bonhoeffers. Corrie ten Boom hid Jews in her home. She was arrested, sent to Ravensbrück. She did survive the war. Dietrich Bonhoeffer was a theologian, a pastor, a writer, and ended up becoming a martyr because he refused to let his privilege stand in the way of true justice. He was a blue-eyed, blonde-haired, Aryan man who was born in a well-to-do family, and he was changed when studying theology in New York. He encountered a black church in Harlem, and he decided that God's justice should be justice for everyone of all races, no matter what, and he adamantly stood against Hitler. Now, I was told, Dietrich, that's what the Christians did. 97% of Germany was a Christian nation, and Dietrich was kicked out of his church for standing against Hitler. The churches, by and large, bought into Hitler. They had their own version of the Bible. They promoted an Aryan Jesus. They cherry-picked the Old Testament to be able to demonize the LGBTQ community. They arrested gay men, sent them to concentration camps. They kept the lesbians out because they figured they could breed them, because women were so important to their society that they were going to use the lesbians as incubators, and they pulled all other women out of the workforce and out of education and took all their resources and wealth from them. Interesting how that works. But Dietrich refused to let his faith be tainted. He tried to speak out against Hitler on a radio broadcast and was cut off mid-sentence. Again, banned from his church. Had to start his own church and his own seminary. He then, using his white privilege, joined German intelligence to be able to spy on them from the inside. And then he snuck Jews out into Switzerland, saving their lives. He was also involved in the assassination attempt on Hitler, July 20th, 1944. And it was only after the attempt failed that they realized Bonhoeffer was connected. He was already in a concentration camp for helping the Jews. Hitler himself ordered his execution just weeks before his concentration camp was liberated. But we were taught that those were the real believers, and Dietrich was a real believer. But we weren't taught was that most Christians sided with you and were totally fine with what was happening around them. Because I want to fucking know is, where does Christian values, family values, fit into this? And this. And this. And this. Is it just about saying you support Christian values and it doesn't matter who the fuck you hurt? We were not on the wrong side of history. You're standing on the wrong side of history right now.